middle of this desolate desert, you'll see this massive crack, and it goes on for miles. No, this isn't a result of a fault line. In fact, these cracks were carved by human hands. These are some of the most dangerous man-made holes in the world. These bizarre cracks are located deep in the Uinta Basin of eastern Utah, USA. Who built them and why? To answer these questions, we'll need to get back to the time before these cracks appeared in this desert, way back to the 1860s. In 1868, a blacksmith asked local Native Americans to find coal for his forge. To his surprise, the natives brought back what looked like coal. However, it was something different. Once placed in the fire, it melted and burst into flames. It flowed out of the forge, nearly burning his shop to the ground. It was then that he realized what they had was something of value. It was Samuel Gilson, who went to great lengths to experiment with it and developed uses for it. He then secured financing for development, which resulted in it being named as Gilsonite. At that time, the Uinta Basin was the only place on Earth where this mineral was found. Naturally, this accidental discovery has the miners swarming into the desert. With only picks and shovels, they carved long vertical seams of Gilsonite straight out of the earth. The work was backbreaking. These efforts resulted in what we now see as the cracks in the middle of the desert. Some of these seams stretch for miles, cutting across the desert like wounds that never healed. Mining camps soon turned into towns. The most famous was Dragon, built with its railroad to ship Gilsonite across state lines. So, what exactly is Gilsonite? This organic lightweight material is formed from ancient oil. These rocks are the result of millions of years of rare geological processes. To say that this mineral changed the world isn't an overstatement. Gilsonite turned out to be useful in many ways. From highways to our own homes, Gilsonite quietly shaped everyday life. On highways, it was quietly mixed into asphalt. This mixture greatly helped in making roads tougher and lasted far longer against the wear of time. Not only that, but when mixed with sealants, it protects driveways and parking lots. Even in our own homes, we're able to find some value in this material. Roofs became tougher and more resistant to storms and rain. Paints and wood stains held their brilliance for longer. Gilsonite also reached into industries on a massive scale. Manufacturers found it invaluable for producing resins, varnishes, and even adhesives. Carbon electrodes for batteries, friction materials for brakes, and additives for plastics and rubber all carried their signature. In metal factories, Gilsonite was used to make smoother molds. These molds were then used to shape steel for bridges and skyscrapers, and then came the giants of energy. Mixed into drilling fluids, it kept boreholes from collapsing, making exploration more efficient and less dangerous. In more ways than one, these massive cracks helped propel our planet's modernity. With too many uses, it's natural that the demand for this organic material has rapidly increased. This then resulted in the desolate desert suddenly becoming alive. Families of miners built homes beside the camps. Trains became busy day and night, hauling the precious cargo. At its peak, nearly 500 people filled the town. But the boom didn't last. For all its value, Gilsonite came with hidden dangers, and the miners would come to learn those risks the hard way. When Gilsonite fractured, it became dangerously unstable. In 1908, a fire broke out in a seam near Dragon, and it smoldered beneath the ground for years. The air filled with choking dust, making it nearly impossible for miners to breathe. The tunnel walls sometimes crumbled without warning. Between 1894 and 1908, a series of underground explosions claimed the lives of 8 miners. In 1945, disaster struck again at the Bonanza mine. 14 shafts erupted at once, igniting the largest Gilsonite vein in the country. The explosion hurled timbers, rock, and debris half a mile away, crashing into homes and mine buildings. But the deadliest tragedy came on November 4, 1953, when a massive blast tore through the workings. 8 miners became casualties of this dangerous material. These incidents would soon pave the way for the towns that once thrived to slowly disappear. Adding to that, in 1911, richer deposits were found farther north, making the original mine less important. By 1940, the town's population had dropped to just 10 people. Like many other mining towns across the United States, World War II marked the end of Dragon, leaving it abandoned and forgotten. So, with the abandonment of the mining site comes the bizarre landscape that we're seeing today. However, more than just a sore on the massive desert, these cracks present dangers more than one could imagine. The walls of the crack can crumble at any moment, making it deadly for anyone who gets too close. But what are your thoughts about this? As always, until the next one.